Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
Senator Heidi Heitkamp's campaign is in crisis mode. This after a handful of sexual assault victims say their names were used in an ad without their consent. On top of that, names of people who claim they were not victims of sexual abuse were also included in that ad.
The release of the victims' names have some wondering on Facebook if this is a violation of Marsy's Law. Valley News Team's Melanie Palmer has been digging into this question. She joins us now in the studio with the shocking answer. Melanie, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Andrea, Mike, this all started with an open letter to Kevin Cramer and several newspapers in an attempt to attack the congressman for comments he made during the confirmation process for Justice Kavanaugh. And that letter also included a list of names of sexual assault victims in North Dakota. But since that ad, a handful of women have been speaking out on social media. One saying she is not a victim of sexual abuse, nor is she a Heitkamp supporter, and she wants to know why her name was put in that letter. We've blurred out the names to hide the identity of these victims. One person posted on our Facebook page asking if this letter is a violation of Marsy's Law, which is an act protecting the legal rights of victims of crime. We talked with a lawyer in Cass County who says Marsy's Law does not require a victim to invoke their rights. But if they did in fact invoke those rights, this letter would be a violation. But the lawyer we talked with also says those rights would be waived if they filled out a disclosure form. We stopped by the Heitkamp office in downtown Fargo to see if these victims did in fact sign some kind of waiver, but a media relations woman with Heitkamp's campaign says they are looking into it and investigating what happened. We also reached out to all the victims who live in the FM area that were on the list. All the ones we talked with tell us they are aware their names are listed and that they fully support what that letter says. Now, the Heitkamp campaign is blaming it on a campaign worker. But in a statement, Heitkamp says they worked with advocates to help find women who would sign this letter to Kevin Cramer. An anonymous source sent us a screenshot of someone asking people to share their stories of sexual assault on Facebook and send them to Kylie Overson. Overson has been an active politician in the state of North Dakota and is running for North Dakota tax commissioner. Overson says she was not the main point of contact and had several women, roughly 10, contact her. She says none of the people she was in touch with were the ones claiming that they did not give their consent to be included. Andrea, Mike.
All right, thanks, Melanie. Senator Heidi Heitkamp made an apology today, saying she deeply regrets the mistake and is in the process of personally apologizing to each of the people impacted by this. Now, coming up tonight at 6:30 on 6:30 Point of View with Chris Berg, hear from a North Dakota woman who is upset that her name is on that list.
Warmer weather yet to come. Today, a little better, but not quite enough. Hutch, we're a little anxious about this. What about tonight?
Indeed, we are. And tonight, you'll want to grab the jacket as you're heading out the door to any of your activities. We still have a northwest wind gusting over 20 miles per hour here in Fargo and many places in central and western Minnesota. That northwest wind has kept our temperatures at bay. It is a chilly 33 in Badette, 37 Grand Forks. We warm into the 40s, though, along and south of Interstate 94 at this hour. But factor in the winds, and wind chills are in the lower 20s in central Minnesota. That's where we find most of the clouds, and spotty spits of rain along the international border will stay dry this evening in Fargo-Moorhead, with temperatures slipping into the 30s. The wind should be decreasing after we get past sunset. Now, that warm up we've been talking about, it is around the corner. How big is this corner I speak of? We'll talk about that in just a second.
Can't quite get here fast enough.
I hear you.
Yeah, thanks, Hutch.
So this is Chad Day kicking me out of the West Fargo pool. Would you like to make a statement?
I've got no comment.
Other than I have to leave, correct?
We need to leave right now, yes.
Okay. I'm getting kicked out of the West Fargo pool.
That video was recorded yesterday by Ronald Hain, who says he was kicked out of the Hulbert Aquatic Center in West Fargo for no reason.
Hain was the head girls swimming coach in West Fargo until he was fired earlier last month for inappropriate coaching practices after it was reported that Hain attached weights to rope belts on his swimmers and had them swim across the pool.
Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with Hain this afternoon, who says he feels like the school district targeted him.
It was humiliating to be removed from a place that used to be my place of employment and a place that I felt at home at for so long.
Ronald Hain went to the pool in West Fargo yesterday to pick up some things he left behind when he was fired.
I figured I'd do lap swim, get a good workout in while I was there. I paid admission, I went in, and I hadn't even gotten my suit on yet when I was asked to leave the facility.
Hain says he was told to leave because he was trespassing, despite it being a public facility and no termination rules saying he couldn't swim there.
It reminded me a lot of how I was terminated from my position with the public schools. No warning. It was a fast decision, a knee-jerk reaction.
But West Fargo says Hain was asked to leave because he had a weight belt and weights with him, which aren't allowed in the pool.
I had no intent on using them in the pool. I know better than that. I was fired for an athlete using weights in the pool.
Hain says he only had a 15-pound weight in his backpack for biking and running.
It would have been different had I brought the weights over to where I was swimming or showed any intention of using weights in the water.
I reached out to West Fargo schools, but they didn't have a comment if Hain was asked to leave because of his inappropriate coaching tactics that he was fired for. In West Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
West Fargo schools did say as soon as the weights were noticed, Hain was immediately asked to leave, being escorted out by staff, saying Hain violated their policy of bringing outside equipment into the pool.
The driver of a car involved in a crash that killed a 22-year-old man near Mapleton is now facing aggravated reckless driving charges. 22-year-old Levi Almaras of West Fargo pleaded not guilty to the misdemeanor charge. The crash happened after Almaras went through an intersection and hit a van carrying a basketball team. Cameron Bolton died in that crash.
A sentencing date has been set for the man who admitted to conspiring to kidnap Savannah Graywind. William Hain will be sentenced October 29th. He pleaded guilty to the kidnapping charge and lying to police in the death of Graywind, but was acquitted by a jury of conspiracy to commit murder. Graywind was 8 months pregnant when she disappeared from her North Fargo apartment building on August 19th of last year. Brooke Cruz pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and lying to police. She's serving a life sentence without parole.
Trial dates have been set for a Berthold couple accused of sexually assaulting a girl. Court records state that 26-year-old Kobe Edwards and 20-year-old Skylar Picanato will stand trial together in Minot starting December 4th. According to the criminal complaint, the girl told investigators that the pair touched her inappropriately. Edwards faces a felony charge of gross sexual imposition. Picanato also faces a felony charge. They remain in custody in the Ward County Jail.
A standoff ended last night with a Downer, Minnesota man taken in for evaluation. Authorities say he made suicidal remarks with a gun inside a home. When authorities arrived around 9 last night, they secured a perimeter and shut down part of Highway 9. Clay County deputies eventually talked the man out of his home. At this time, he hasn't been identified and is not facing any charges.
Arvig has discovered an unauthorized third party called Doxo is processing payments for Arvig customers with a fee. Officials are warning customers that Arvig has not authorized this vendor or any other third party to charge customers for processing their payments. Arvig is currently investigating the practice and looking for ways to fix the situation. For more information on how you can pay your bill online, find this story on valleynewslive.com.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, Minnesota's Attorney General gets tough with companies that hike their prices for insulin.
Up next, another rare case that affects a person's nervous system is diagnosed in Minnesota.
You're watching Valley News Live on TV, online, and on the go. Always on, wherever you are, whenever you need to know. Valley News Live. You're watching Valley News Live on KVLY, your hometown NBC station.
It's October at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge Grand Forks, and our trick is to treat you with big savings. You'll go batty for this 2019 Jeep Cherokee Latitude 4x4 and lease it for only $199 a month during Jeep Adventure Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge Grand Forks.
At Jeff's Plumbing, we're people who care. Reliable, dependable, we're always there.
At Jeff's Plumbing, we answer our phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Thanks for calling Jeff's Plumbing. How can I help you? That sounds like your main drain is backing up. I'll get a technician right out.
You can be assured, no matter what your plumbing emergency, our technicians will be ready to roll anytime.
Leave the plumbing to us, we're people you can trust. Jeff's Plumbing.
One big sign of the holiday season is the Big One Art and Craft Fair, and the doors are set to open on October 19th and 20th. Find over 200 booths with handmade gift ideas. It's the Big One Art and Craft Fair at the Crookston Sports Center.
Is that too much pizza?
Is the XL&Y too much pizza for us?
Oh no, that's my personal extra large pizza.
Now for $8, get any XL&Y. We make it, you bake it. Papa Murphy's.
In North Dakota, we were raised to tell the truth. So it was sad to see our tax commissioner lying to police when he was arrested for drunk driving. But here's another lie. Your property taxes. You were promised relief, and instead, your taxes went up. I'm Kylie Overson, and as tax commissioner, I'll protect your hard-earned money and run an honest office where taxpayers aren't taken advantage of. My opponent is sure to run ads lying about me, just like he lied to police. But I'm going to stick to telling the truth and protecting your tax dollars.
It's Shoptober at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge Grand Force, and our trick is to treat you with big savings. Have a howling good time in the 2019 Ram 1500 Bighorn Crew Cab 4x4. Lease for just $283 a month during Ram Power Days at Lithia Chrysler Jeep Dodge Grand Forks.
Beautiful, energy efficient, and easy cleaning replacement windows. Windows Plus.
The 7th case of the polio-like illness, which affects the nervous system in children, has been diagnosed in Minnesota. The Minnesota Department of Health says the case is under review and it is not releasing whether the child is in the hospital. The CDC says there are now 62 cases across 22 states this year. The 7 Minnesota cases have been reported from all across the state, and all cases were children aged 10 or under. Acute flaccid myelitis, or AFM, is a rare condition that affects the nervous system, causing muscle weakness. Symptoms include neck weakness or stiffness, drooping eyelids or a facial droop, and difficulty swallowing or slurred speech.
Minnesota Attorney General Lori Swanson is suing 3 major pharmaceutical companies after years of skyrocketing insulin prices that some Minnesotans now can't afford. The lawsuit alleges that the drug companies Sanofi Aventis US LLC, Novo Nordisk Incorporated, and Eli Lilly and Company deceptively raised the list of prices of insulin, making it less affordable to patients in high-deductible health plans, the uninsured, and senior citizens struggling on Medicare. The list price of some insulin products has more than doubled since 2011 and tripled since 2002. Nearly 10% of Minnesota residents have diabetes, which is the 7th leading cause of death in the United States. Diabetics who don't take their insulin may face kidney damage, heart attacks, nerve damage, or ketoacidosis. The lawsuit seeks relief from Minnesota residents who paid out of pocket for their insulation.
Later on Valley News Live at 6, horses up for auction as the current owner tries to sell them rather than send them to the slaughterhouse.
It is chilly in northwest Minnesota and the northern Red River Valley. 30s there, but the 60s are showing up down in South Dakota. A beautiful sunset tonight after a cool day. Details on your warm-up right after this.